help me do the stream. Let these be your words, not mine. Okay, so some believe that James Casbolt is actually the clone of Jesus Christ, making him Lucifer or Satan. I do believe that the two spirits of Lucifer and Satan are distinguishable, like they're different, but I do think that the vessel has to make a choice, and it's aligned with humankind's free will. And it brings me back to when I experienced a lot of poltergeist. Before I was saved, I experienced a lot of poltergeist, and it got to the point where it was so bad that I had to go to a psychic medium. She was very strong. She was very good. As soon as I sat in her chair, she was like, "Your grandfather is here, and there's an orange cat sitting on your lap." Well, closest to me was my grandfather, and I had, in fact, lost an orange cat. So she explained to me that I had opened a portal in the spirit realm and I needed to close it through faith. So even though we are children of God, you are born with free will. You have the free will to choose to protect yourself using Jesus Christ through, like God through Jesus Christ, or not. So back in 2013, when this happened to me, I had the choice to make, and it wasn't automatic. Why all the poltergeists? I fell into the deepest depression. I was already depressed. I fell into the deepest depression of my life. I was hallucinating. More than that, I was being watched and monitored, and there was so much poltergeist around me that it got violent. It got physically violent, and I had to do something about it. So I found this woman who was really reputable in our area, and she told me that I had to make the choice to choose protection, to invite me to a relationship with Jesus Christ, with God through Jesus Christ, using Psalm 91. She also told me I could use black obsidian or selenite. So, as a person with free will, I could just have chosen the witchcraft of just the black obsidian or the selenite, but naturally I did both. I did selenite and black obsidian, and then also I read Psalm 91 every night before bed, inviting God's protection through Jesus Christ into my life and Archangel Michael into my life. So that is proof that humans have free will. Yeah, you're a child of God, but you still have free will to accept the protection and the provisions and the abundance of your life through Jesus Christ. And I went on to endure a lot of trials. Salvation became a bigger story. It wasn't just that. Soon after, I moved to Austin, Texas, and then it kind of snowballed from there. So many people do believe that James Casbolt is a clone of Jesus Christ. His ex-wife even has a song called "Jesus is Really Good in Bed." You know, it's very interesting. I think if I were to ask her, she would not remember, because I think both these individuals are really under MK Ultra mind control, and they have the free will. Everyone has the free will to escape that, and the only escape seems to be in this late hour upon judgment. It seems to be connection to God through Jesus Christ. It just seems to be the only way to go. So I appreciate this video. I couldn't just post it automatically, otherwise I would have. So I decided to do a stream to share with you. Elizabeth April speaking about clones. How do they do it? How do they actually clone people, and what happens?
How does it work? How do they actually clone? As always, take it or leave it. It's pretty wild. All right. So, first of all, they get the influential person's DNA. And remember, even though I've only remote viewed a cloning base in America, in the United States, I'm sure they have cloning bases all over the world. I just haven't gone there. So they essentially get the person's DNA, and then they, how do I, it,
Also, if you're an influential person like myself, you've been cloned. That's why I've been professing in recent videos, just kill my clones, because they don't have quality of life.
it's kind of like creating a baby. How do I say this? It's like creating a baby in like a fake embryo sac, like a fake uterus, but instead of creating a baby, they're creating like a full human body, and they'll do like an age progression, so the clone will come out the same age as the time of the person's DNA, if that makes sense. And then essentially,
So some people suspect when James Casbolt went crazy, when he came into the US Army, he went crazy. Deborah Tavares has a famous whistleblower. She has a testimony saying he was replaced back in that time. He was replaced. There is something interesting with the man where he is able to heal from things that an ordinary person cannot heal from. Like immediately. Immediately. He healed from arthritis. I've healed from arthritis recently. That doesn't happen. Arthritis is something that is supposed to be continuously chronic and worse. But I got it in my knuckle and it's gone. It's virtually gone. He had it in his lower back and it's gone. It's virtually gone. He had high blood pressure a couple weeks ago. They put a monitor on him. He had to like live with it for a day, and he healed himself from high blood pressure. Like the person can just heal from whatever.
that clone body will start aging from that time, so that the aging.
He's also a transhumanist, by the way. James Casbolt is a huge transhumanist. So this ties in. I've had a lot of dreams about transhumanism. Part of it is being able to heal supernaturally from things that are not traditionally known to be have healed from in any way, shape, or form.
Is related to the person in real life. Okay, so they're able to do that. I'm not a scientist. I have no idea how they do that.
This is Elizabeth April. I've actually met her. She's very nice. When I met her, she was kind of afraid of me. A lot of people are like afraid of me when they meet me. I don't know why. You know, Christians and Satanists alike, they're sort of have this like, some of them have this like feeling of fear around me. And she's cool as hell. But yeah, I met her and she was very nice, but definitely had this apprehension about me because she had some kind of apprehension about me, but very nice woman, and I appreciate her work.
But that's what I've seen. I've seen all of the different stages of them creating these bodies, and they all get created at that age. They don't like create a baby and then age advance them. The clone body is created at the age that the DNA is taken. Okay, and then it just ages with that person, so that when and if that person needs to be replaced, they wake up the clone body, and we're going to talk about that. So, hold on. Yep. Okay. So once a clone body is ready, right, they transfer a consciousness into it. So what's really fascinating is that body is essentially just an empty vessel, and it's a bunch of machines that are keeping the body, the blood pumping, the body moving, all of that. The problem is that when a body is not connected to the technology, it can't function, right? And I know that I've looked into organic robots before, and that's a whole other story. But essentially, in order to have a body, and also there's like this whole concept of NPCs, which I believe in to an extent, but it's very nuanced. So anyway, in order for the clone body to operate, it has to have a fractal of source energy. Think about source energy or the universal energy or consciousness, whatever you want to call it. Think about that as the battery pack that you put into a body. The machine, the body, it's not going to move. It's not going to go. It's not going to live and exist autonomously without this fractal of source, right? This connection to energy. And so this is where it gets kind of weird, right? So essentially they have a room in this cloning facility, and in the room there are these like canisters, and in the canisters are different different souls, I guess. And those souls, and I haven't gone into like how they even get the souls, like how do they even harvest the souls, which is a whole other.
Yeah, that's a really good question. How do they even get a soul? Is it technology? Is it AI that's ancient?
Thing that I'd be curious to look into. But essentially they take these canisters and they put it into a machine, and like imagine the clone body sort of sitting in a chair, They put the canister in a machine, and then it like kind of shoots the consciousness into the body, and that's what allows the body to function free of the machines. Now, sometimes they
That's why I feel like a lot of my clones that I've woken up in dreams, which are like very vivid, not dreams, they're like reality. I wake up in these clones and I feel like a virtual vegetable. Like there's only a tiny spark that is still in the clone. And it's like I said, no quality of life is happening here. This is so sinister in my opinion.
will use the same consciousness as the real body or the previous clone body. The reason why they would want to do that is the previous consciousness already has all of the mannerisms, all of the memories, all of the experiences of the previous clone. Typically,
So this is where I want to embellish on the story of James Casbolt versus Michael Prince. In my experience, I'm dealing with two different people because James Casbolt is a clone of Michael Prince. Is he collecting the DNA into his body? That's, I think, a free will decision. So that's something that he can do. But I understand that when I'm dealing with the person, I'm dealing with two different people. I'm dealing with the clone here and now in this reality, but there's also the consciousness, the man of the consciousness that descends into him. I'm dealing with two different people. And I obviously plea that he absorbed more of his soul essence into the body now. That's the best I can do. What else can you do? Because without it, you are just a vegetable like the clones without consciousness.
what they do is once they get rid of the original person, they also get rid of the original soul. The problem is that the reason why they wanted to get rid of that person to begin with is because they were rebellious, they were fighting back. Of course they don't want to bring that rebellious spirit back into a new body. So what they do is they take kind of a random consciousness and they put it into the clone body, and then it goes through a process of programming, very similar, very much so based on the old school MK Ultra programming. They will program the consciousness to work with, like we're talking about, the physical rehabilitation, the mental, the language, the dialect, everything. Like this consciousness.
They did send in a clone. When I moved to Texas, my first significant other, they sent in a clone. It was a clone of him. And I was intrigued by the person because I was just observing. I'm like, this is a clone of Frank. So even though I knew it was a clone of Frank and I was like, this is very suspicious, but I'm gonna lean into it, right? I'm gonna like make a friendship with this person, this clone. And the more I made a friendship with him, the more he began to deprogram, deconstruct. And finally, I was like, are you a clone? Looked him dead in the eye, looked the vessel dead in the eye. Are you a clone? And he started to short circuit. He started to go crazy and short circuit because these rebellious spirits that they're putting out there. And I'll tell you what, this dude could recite the Bible forwards and backwards. Before I came to his judgment day to say, are you a clone? He could go out and anywhere and just recite the Bible to anybody. And people looked up to him as if he was some sort of, messiahal figure, but I broke him down. I didn't mean to, but it just happened naturally. It's like when these rebellious people, naturally the clones rebel, then they're like, okay, never mind, and then retract, and then what? It's just an empty vessel just walking around. This world is so weird. We have these empty vessels just walking around, and I just think maybe they die. I don't know. Is he dead? I don't know. Did he die? I don't know. It was only a very short interaction, but I leaned in because I was like, this is obviously a clone of somebody. And I knew it was a clone of him because he had the memories, he had the energy signature, he had all the mannerisms, he had the total resonance of the original person. This was a like very high functioning homeless man. So like he was homeless, but he was very high functioning. He was very like regal and prestigious. But he began to deprogram when I was finally like, dude, you're a clone. And he just started to short circuit and say the craziest shit. And who knows? Like, did he die? I don't know. It was very interesting.
This has to now work with a brand new body, and it has to work with a series of mannerisms and everything. So it goes through about a 6-month period of intense training and programming to become that individual. That's why it's really difficult to kill someone off and bring in a clone right away. There's usually a period where that person is not seen for a long period of time when they're sort of establishing that new clone, right?
And that's why there's the weirdest article that came out in like 2020 on Cosmopolitan. It was called The Rebirth of Christina Aguilera. And this woman, she was like, I don't wear makeup anymore. Like, I'm so natural. And you're like, oh my God, she got a glow up. Everyone's like, Lindsay Lohan just got a glow up. Did they kill the original Christina Aguilera and bring in a new one? Did they kill the original Lindsay Lohan and just bring in an automaton? Men are so sick nowadays, they would just like prefer to have a robot who is so suggestive to everything that they say. I think that's what's happening to a lot of these celebrities when they come out saying they had like a rebirth, like, oh, I'm rebirthing. And I'll tell you what, the article read as if she was a clone being rebirthed. Christina Aguilera, Cosmopolitan magazine. If you read that article, it reads as if she was a clone being rebirthed, and they pictured her almost naked without makeup. It was so weird. She didn't look the same. And this is testimony to what Elizabeth April is saying. When they replace a clone, it's like takes 6 months to kind of like rehabilitate into society.
It's very fascinating. Once again, take it or leave it. I get how crazy this sounds. Oh, yeah. And then another interesting fact, clone bodies only last so long, kind of like what I was talking about with Michael Jackson. His was the first public clone, and it really just deteriorated. There's something about, I tried asking about this, there's something about like the cells, right? Like, so as we age, we have these like half-lives, our cells they don't have like as much whatever we need to stay young and healthy. And so the clone bodies, it's almost like the aging and the deterioration is like rapid, right? And so before, they would only last anywhere between 3 and 5 years if they were lucky. Nowadays, these new clones are lasting anywhere between 10 and 15 years is what I've seen. But still, they don't last very long.
Maybe it was a popular thing on the internet. It was videos of Michael Jackson glitching out. If you've seen any of these videos, they are of Michael Jackson performing, and he's glitching out as if he's remote controlled. And it's the strangest thing you'll ever see. Maybe you've seen them in the past. I have seen them in the past. It's very true and very interesting.
For a variety of reasons, but it's just okay. How does it work? How do they actually clone? As always, take it or leave it. It's pretty wild. All right. So first of all, they get.
So that's back to the beginning. So with the mystery of James Casbolt, there's James Casbolt here. Now, Michael Prince is actually the version of him that is non-terrestrial. So when we're dealing with James Casbolt, we're actually dealing with two people. The interesting thing with him is he does seem to have the ability to heal from things that an ordinary person cannot heal from. He does seem to channel the energy of both Lucifer and Satan. Now, the human being has the free will to make the choice. Do you want to channel Satan, or do you want to channel Jesus Christ giving us Lucifer? We want, as funny as it sounds, we actually want Lucifer. We don't want Satan, right? The man's embodying the spirit of Satan by choice. He can bring in the spirit of Jesus Christ, making him, in fact, Lucifer. This is why there's such a controversy around who Lucifer is. It's whoever has the courage to bring in Jesus Christ into the vessel that is being inhabited by Satan, giving us Lucifer. Kicking out Satan, giving us Lucifer. Will he do it? I guess we will see. But this is the test of James Casbolt. This is the test. This is the evolution, the ascension that everyone is kind of waiting to see. we shouldn't be waiting for anything because waiting is so annoying. But that is exactly what is happening, and there's very interesting things surrounding that. I mean, when you clone Jesus Christ, what happens? You've seen it. There's tons of videos. There's tons of material. The material James Casbolt is writing is also the material of Michael Prince. The material is of James Casbolt and MI6. It's also the material of Michael Prince. We're reading two stories within one. Now, who is Michael Prince? The reappearance of, or the continuation of, the man we knew as Jesus Christ as a non terrestrial man. Very interesting. So, I don't know. I've always known this, but I'm just presenting it here now. All right, that's that. You're the right kind of people. Love y'all so much. Vanessa, hi. I'm so glad you're at a warming center. That makes me so happy. Don't ever want to see you suffer, ever. All right, we'll check you later. Have a good night.